Now let's talk X-Men First Class. I thought that this movie was going to be garbage at first because I just felt like they were making X-Men movies just to make them. You know, they made X-Men 1, 2, and 3 and they were pretty good. And then they made Origins Wolverine. I don't know what to think about that movie. And, it just seems like they're making X-Men movies all over the place and they really have no storyline and they have no timeline. But in this one, they fixed that, and I saw that in the trailer, and I saw that Matthew Vaughn was directing it, so I was really intrigued then, and I was like, oh, this looks really good. So at first, I didn't have high expectations, and then later on I did, and this actually surpassed my high expectations because I really like this film. This movie is about Eric Kleshner, a little kid who's at a concentration camp, sees his mom get taken away past this gate, so he gets really mad, and he's a mutant and has the power to destroy the gate, which he does, and he is going towards her. But what happens is that 3 guards get him, and 1 guard just knocks him out. After that, what happens is they take him to a scientist known as Dr. Schmidt, also known as Sebastian Shaw, and what he does is tells him, move this coin or I will shoot your mom. And he cannot do it. He cannot move the coin. So he kills his mom. And after that, he gets really pissed and starts moving every metal object in that room and kills 2 guards. But Sebastian Shaw does not care because he can see that Eric Kleshner is a very powerful mutant when he's angry. In Westchester, New York, there is a guy called Charles Xavier, and he thinks that he is going to be robbed because he hears some noise, so he goes down the steps, finds out that it's his mom at first. But then he reads the person's mind, finds out it's a shapeshifter named Raven. So, invites her to his family. What happens is that Sebastian Shaw is hell-bent on destroying the world. He just wants to dominate the world and destroy it. So he recruits some mutants to help him do that. Now, what also happens is that Charles Xavier hears about this, and so does Magneto, or Eric Kleshner, whatever you want to call him. And they two team up, recruit their own mutants trying to stop Sebastian Shaw. So this movie is just about Charles Xavier and Magneto teaming up to stop Sebastian Shaw from destroying the world. This movie, because it shows Charles Xavier and Magneto being friends instead of always fighting and always being enemies like in the past X-Men movies. They were friends at one point. So this movie shows that, and it shows how they had to team up in order to destroy a hard enemy, because Sebastian Shaw is also a mutant who, if you attack him, he just becomes stronger. If you shoot him, he can take energy, like nuclear energy, and it just makes him stronger. So it's hard. It's a hard enemy to destroy, and these two need to team up to destroy him. And you see it in this movie, but you all know what happens. If you know about X-Men, you know what's going to happen between these two. They're going to become enemies, and this movie shows how that happens. Difference of opinion is what separates these two, because Charles is more peaceful, and you can see why Eric Kleshner, also known as Magneto, is not peaceful, because he was attacked by Nazis, his mom was killed, and he was imprisoned. So you can see why he would have a difference of opinion with Charles Xavier. I also like how they recruit the mutants. Like, they go through Cerebro, which you see in the first X-Men is huge, but in this movie it's so small, it just fits on Charles Xavier's head in this one. And it's just so great because they find so many mutants through this way, and after that, they find Wolverine, and they come to Wolverine and they tell him, it's a really funny scene, I think. It's just a short, like 3-4 seconds, and they come to Wolverine. Hugh Jackman's in this movie for a couple of seconds, and they come to him and they ask him, do you want to join the X-Men? And he's like, go fuck yourself. And that was really funny, I thought. It's kind of true also because Wolverine doesn't join the X-Men right away, but I mean, it's just added just for humor, and I thought it was hilarious. The only thing I hated about this movie that I didn't like was that I didn't know some of the mutants. Maybe it's because I don't know that much about X-Men, but these mutants in this movie were none of the ones that I knew. Like, there was Havoc, and there was some weird mutants. Like, I never heard of these people, and they had interesting powers, but I really didn't care about them because I didn't know anything about them before. Like, the only people I knew was Xavier, Professor X, and Magneto, and I thought those two were the best anyway. I think James McAvoy did a really good job as Professor Xavier. Michael Fassbender did a really good job as Magneto, I thought, and he did a good job. And I've never ever heard of this actor, and I've never seen him, but I would like to see him in movies now, just because he did a pretty good job in this movie. Another downfall of this movie, but it's not a big downfall, is that it's predictable at the end because you know about X-Men. If you know anything about X-Men, you know what's going to happen at the end. I knew it, and there were actually some lines that were just so predictable too. But I didn't mind them. They weren't that bad. So I would give this movie an 8.5 out of 10, and I would tell everybody to check it out because I think it's that good of a movie, and I think it can relate to everybody. And so tell me what you think about X-Men First Class, and if you're going to see this movie or not. And tell me what you think about X-Men. I think they should continue this series, but what do you think?